Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, we'll primarily discuss example 5.2 solved in the book. Let's proceed. So example 5.2 says a 480 volt 60 hertz delta connected 4-pole synchronous generator has an open circuit characteristics shown in figure 5.23a. So this is 5.23a. This is the open circuit characteristics of the generator, and it is between field current and the terminal voltage. Now the delta connection will look something like this. What is given here and how to interpret is we keep this point in mind, that in the generator specification given voltage is always line to line voltage. So this 480 volt is actually this voltage here, line to line voltage, and the given current is line current. So the current like it is given here is line current, and we have to calculate all these 6 parameters. So we'll go one by one and see what does they mean. Okay, again this repeat. Now the generator is connected in delta. This is so its phase voltage is equal to line voltage. So I hope you already know this, but just to give you an idea, this was the line voltage and this is the phase voltage. So in delta connection the line voltage and phase voltage are same, but the line current and phase currents are different. So the phase current is related to the line current by this equation. IL is under root 3 times I phase. So you have to keep in mind that IL is more than phase current. So anything more we have to multiply by under root 3. Now the first question, what is the speed of rotation of the generator? So I hope you remember the formula for speed. Frequency is given by speed multiplied by number of poles divided by 120. So from here we can calculate the speed to be 120 frequency divided by pole, and putting the value of frequency 60 hertz given in the question, 4 pole given, so our speed will be 1800 revolutions per minute. So that is part A. Now part B says how much field current must be supplied to the generator to make the terminal voltage 480 volt at no load. So basically, since there is no load, so whatever was the voltage here, that at the generator side, that will be at the terminal voltage, assuming there is no drop, and since there is no current flowing, so there will be no drop. Now, the only thing we have to do is ensure that the field current is appropriate to generate this 480 volt. Now for that, what we have to do, we look into the voltage side, and this is, let's say, 480. Then we find the current that is required for the field for this voltage to generate. So from here, for 480 volt, 480, we get a current of 4.5 ampere. So field current has to be 4.5 ampere to get this terminal voltage. Okay. The next question is, if the generator is now connected to a load and the load draws 1200 ampere at 0.8 power factor lagging, how much field current will be required to keep the terminal voltage? So now there is a load and now current is flowing, so there will be drops in the circuit. So we have to keep that in mind. And for that, first of all, we'll calculate the phase current. So this is the line current. We divide by under root 3 to get the phase current, which will be 692.8 ampere. And now our single phase circuit or per phase circuit will look like this. This is the field winding, this is the armature, and the armature resistance, armature reactance. we know this voltage that it is 480. We have to find how much will be this volt, and for that we have to find how much the field current would be required. So this will be the formula. If you start from here, the terminal voltage plus we have to add the drop in here and drop in here to get EA, or we can say that EA is V terminal plus drop in the resistance of the armature and drop in the reactance of the armature. We know all these values. The reactance is 0.1 given in the question and the resistance is 0.15. So putting all the value, 480 volt terminal voltage, resistance multiplied by the current that we calculated, single phase. Since it is lagging, power factor 0.8 means we have angle 36.87. So I hope you know how to calculate inverse of the power factor cos. Okay, and similarly for this terminal we have 0.1 is XX, same current, and solving we find the terminal voltage 532. So to ensure that we have a voltage of 480 volt here, we have to generate 532 volt at this point. And for that, how much field current we have to adjust? You know, the field current can be adjusted by this resistance. And so we have to look at the diagram, the open circuit characteristics. Now for we want 532 volt generated, so for that the current or the field current required will be 5.7 amperes. So this is part C. Now part D has three parts. First of all, how much power is generated, how much power is the generator now supplying. That means the output voltage. How much power is supplied to the generator by the prime mover. So whether it is an engine or turbine, whatever is moving the generator, how much power is given to the generator. And finally, what is the machine's overall efficiency. Now the power that the generator is now supplying can be found from this formula. Now it is difficult to remember this formula, so let me tell you an easy trick. We know that the power out or the total power out is 3 times the power per phase. There are 3 phases, so multiplied by 3. And power per phase will be V phase into I phase into power factor or cos theta. In this case, V phase and V line or V terminal is same, but the current and phase current and line currents are different, so the relation between them is I phase is equal to I line divided by under root 3. So from here we get this equation. So V terminal or V line, I line and cos theta. Now we know all these values. V terminal is 480. So under root 3, 480. Now this is the total current. I line is 1200 ampere and the cos of the angle 36.87. So this will be the output in terms of a watt, 798. How much power is supplied to the generator? Now this is the output power, so all the losses we have to include to get the power supplied by the prime mover. So like here, this is the output, and if you keep going back, we have the I square R loss, we have the core loss, friction loss, stray loss, and then we come to power in. That means the power in is dropped in these places to get the to power out. So if you know all these places, we add this with power out to get the power in. Okay, so power in is power out, power electrical loss, or it is also copper loss, then core loss, then the mechanical loss or friction loss, and then the stray losses. Now the core loss is given to be 30 kilowatt for this one. Friction and windage loss is given 40 kilowatts, so mechanical losses. And the stray loss is not specified, So we'll assume this to be 0. And now we have to calculate the copper loss. This was core loss, this one not copper loss. Copper loss we have to calculate. So copper loss is 3 times total copper loss, 3 times I square RA, the formula for single phase. I we know for single phase 692, R is given for single phase. So from here we get 21.6 kilowatt is the copper loss, or what is called electric loss from here. So now adding all these, we get the input power 889.6 kilowatts. So this is the power given by the turbine or the prime mover to the generator. All this is input power. So now we know the output power and the input power. We can find the efficiency is P out over P in into 100%. Putting in the values, it is 89.75%. Now question E, if the generator's load was suddenly disconnected from the line, what would happen to the terminal voltage? So if you disconnect the load suddenly, the terminal voltage should not get immediately disturbed. However, what will happen, that since there is no current flowing, there will be no more voltage drop. So the terminal voltage should be same as the voltage generated from here. So let's see. If the generator's load was suddenly disconnected from the line, the current IA would drop to 0. So this current, because there is no closed path, so this will be 0, and making EA is equal to V phi, that is the V phi or the output voltage will be generated voltage, which was 532 that we calculated, this one here. And finally, suppose that the generator is connected to a load drawing 1200 amperes at 0.8 power factor leading. Now earlier we had connected it to power factor lagging. Now we are connecting a load which has power factor leading, and I hope you know that for power factor lagging it is inductive load, and for power factor leading it is capacitive load. So with this type of a load, how much field current would be required to keep the terminal voltage 480 volt? So exactly same way we'll proceed. We know the generator reactance and resistance. We follow this exactly same formula. This, except that now in this case the angle would be positive leading, so not negative. In the previous case this angle was negative. And solving, the generated voltage is 451. So this much voltage would be required to keep the terminal voltage 480 volt. And how much and how do we generate this voltage? By adjusting the field current. So we can see this from this graph, that for 451 our current would be something like 4.1 ampere. So adjusting this current to 4.1 ampere, we can generate EA of 451 volt. Okay, and finally a simple question for what type of load, leading or lagging, needed a larger field current to maintain the rated voltage? So we have the two datas. We can just see that for power factor lagging the field current was 5.7, and for power factor leading the field current was 4.1. So we can see that for capacitive load the field current required is less than the inductive load. And finally it says, what type of load, leading or lagging, places more thermal stress on the generator? Now the thermal stress depends on the armature current. It is the current in the winding that put thermal stress on the synchronous generator. And in both cases we saw the armature current in both cases was 692.8, and therefore the same amount of stress will be placed on in both the cases. So I hope this gives you an understanding how to solve synchronous generator problems. Thank you.